Bonjour. Today I'm doing I suppose a bit of a curveball for me. I'm going to look at decks of cards. The channel's called accoutrements or accoutrement, and what could be a more classic accoutrement for the modern gentleman or gentlewoman than a deck of good cards? Yes, everybody's got their phones nowadays, their iPads and everything, and there are some social elements to those, I suppose, if needed, but you can't beat a deck of cards for social interaction, having a bit of fun with your peers and friends. Everyone loves a game of cards, right? So everyone should have a deck of cards. Shove it in your pocket, shove it in your bag. You can't get a more compact, versatile, entertaining, cheap way to have fun with your friends and even earn some money. Game of poker, anybody? Just going to have a look today at a few different decks, comparing paper cards to plastic cards, having a look at some of the different options out there. Cards have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. There are hundreds of games you can play with a deck of cards. I grew up playing cards with my family. I'm from the UK, I'm British, so I grew up with Waddingtons number ones. You can pick up a deck of these still in 2023 for about £2 or £2.50. Can't go wrong, really. Do you like cards? Do you play cards? Do you think that's a really old-fashioned thing to do? What are your favourite games? Some of my favourites are Texas Hold'em, Hearts, a little 2-player or 3-player game called Gops, game of pure strategy, that's good. Even been playing a bit of cribbage with the missus, and a great 2-player game. Yeah, it's a good way to spend some quality time with people, I think. V's sat there staring at a screen on your own, not interacting with anybody. So as I said, I live in England. The Waddingtons number one, the most common cards that I grew up with in the UK. Bridge size cards, so slightly smaller than poker size cards. There's a poker card, they're the same height. Bridge cards are slightly narrower. Bridge cards, 2.25 inches versus poker cards which are 2.5 inches wide. Doesn't look like it makes much difference, does it? But if you're playing a game where you've got like 13 cards in your hand or something, I prefer bridge cards. Much easier to hold a load of cards with bridge cards than it is with poker cards. So yeah, for me, bridge cards for general use every time. Poker cards, I'll only tend to use those when I'm playing poker. But yeah, these are paper cards, linen finish, the Waddingtons. Linen finish, I've got some kind of plasticized coating on them. But yeah, these are paper, but they're really cheap. They're really classic cards. I absolutely love the Waddingtons Ace. It's probably my favourite Ace card of all the decks I've got. Really detailed and pretty and nice. As you can see, these are 4 pips cards, so you've got a indication and index in each of the 4 corners. I'm left-handed, so for me having the 4 pips is pretty much essential. It means I can fan my cards much quicker with 4 pip cards. I know some folks hate them and think they look cluttered. These are what I grew up with. I much prefer 4 pip cards as a left-hander than, say, 2 pips cards such as these. I have to fan these in a backwards way. It's just more cumbersome, less comfortable having 2 pips cards for me. So yeah, the Waddingtons paper cards, £2 a pack. They're good, they're quite cheap, classic. I do have quite a few of the paper decks, these Theory 11 Monarchs. Look at that packet, beautiful foiling on there, absolutely stunning. The backs of the cards are lush. These feel really nice, made by the United States Playing Card Company. These are really high quality cards. Lovely. But yeah, only the 2 pips. These are fine for right-handers. They're lovely cards, but I have to kind of do that if I'm fanning my cards. That's no good. I need the 4 pips. So beautiful as these are, I don't tend to use them much. They're just sat on my shelf there mostly, looking very pretty in their box. So paper cards, look at the state of these, look, the edges. I mean, I've had these for a little while. They've been taken to the pub, they've been spilled. Paper cards, they fray. They get really dirty, the edges get all tatty and torn. Paper cards, mate, you can't. Card games for me most often involve liquids, beer, etc. And occasionally, after a few beers, obviously you're going to get spills and things. So yeah, paper cards will get ruined pretty quickly. So your other option are plastic cards. Here's a nice set of Copags. These are probably my favourite bridge size deck. Plastic, 100% plastic, so these won't tarnish. If they get wet, you just wash them or wipe them clean. They're going to last loads longer than paper cards. They're more expensive, but they're so much more durable. I much prefer plastic cards. So a deck of Waddingtons are about, say, £2.50. These are probably round about 8, 9, 10 quid, something like that for a deck, but they're going to last you for years. Some people don't like the feel of plastic cards or the way they shuffle and prefer paper cards. I don't know, I prefer plastic. Bridge size, these are great cards. They're going to last you for many, many years. They can shatter, they can break, they can bend, but they're much more resistant to handling and to the usual rigours that might be involved in a game of cards. And a poker deck, another Copag deck, 4-colour deck. These are also very nice cards. 4 colours, so you get green, red, blue and black in these. Again, some people hate these cards. I really like them. I think they give a bit of variety to your games. If I was having a game of poker, I often play with this deck. Really large indexes versus this much smaller indexes on here. So if I'm playing with a larger group, these are much easier to see because the numbers are bigger. For the older generation of those with failing eyesight, they're better. For community games such as poker, where everyone's sharing these cards in the middle, yeah, I go for a big poker deck. And again, let's just compare the poker size to the bridge size. A little bit wider, the larger indexes. These for poker, poker size cards for poker, bridge size cards for all other games. That's what I prefer anyway. Obviously, most card games have an element of luck in them, the random nature of the cards, not knowing what you're going to get. But I prefer games that have some skill involved as well, such as poker. Hearts is a favourite of mine. Cribbage is a great 2-player or 3-player game. Yeah, so many. Try and get the kids involved with real simple games like Fish or even War. Deck of cards. Do you use them? Do you like them? Do you prefer paper or plastic? Recommend me some good decks. Plastic decks. Bridge size with 4 pips. Because there aren't many options. Let me know your thoughts on this one, and have a good time all the time. Adios, amigo.